Hello there, welcome to another Monday night stream. I just got an itchy nose. I say Monday night, it's not necessarily night for everyone that's watching, but I think you all get the idea. Floopy, welcome. For the stream or for watching this particular moment of the story? Alright, please do. I don't think there's anyone watching that hasn't caught up with this series, so go for it. Connor, welcome. General Connor. Alright, Floopy, share your theory. And I'm glad you're looking forward to both the stream and this story. Could work, although I don't think Grogu would have been quite so willing to go off with Luke if he'd been evil. I think he'd have sensed it through the Force. I know that Grogu does occasionally show some dark side tendencies, but I don't really get the feel that he's ready to take the fall. Though I do like the idea that he could be working for Thrawn. It's an interesting possibility. Marcus, I'm glad you made it too, and hope you can stick around, like you said. The thing about what's kind of irritating me the most is because of COVID, obviously production is going to be slow on season 3 and Ahsoka and the other 2 shows, which means we've got a long wait to find out what's going to happen next. TX5324, I found this AT-AT model and it was fully rigged, but it still needs to be animated manually, so I guess a little bit scared, but it's not as daunting because it is actually rigged. It's not quite as daunting as I thought it was going to be. Though one of my things I did consider was creating a human character, making them completely invisible, but then attaching parts of the AT-AT to the human character's body, so you'd still see that. And then I would do motion capture, pretending to be an AT-AT, which I was kind of excited for and also dreading, because it would be an interesting challenge, but at the same time I don't know how well I could pretend to be an AT-AT. That's a very kind offer. I don't actually need any assistance at the moment. All I'm trying to do... so I guess there's enough of you here now to see. So tonight I'm going to be animating this AT-AT, because those familiar with the book will know that Nomad City is a dreadnought being carried by 40 AT-ATs, and of course it needs to walk, so that's what I'm going to be working on tonight. Let's see. Yeah, Floopy, I did know that those spiders were originally concept art to appear in the Empire Strikes Back, but they were cut for reasons that escape me right now. But they also used the design again. But they were also used as the design for the spiders of Kessel in the Expanded Universe, because the Star Wars miniatures game had a miniature of those spiders from Kessel. I can't remember what they're called, but the energy spiders that drain people's energy out of people's survival suits, which kills they don't kill the person directly, but the survival suit lacks power, means the person it dies. So I did collect that miniatures game, and so I've got one of those spiders in the collection somewhere. Let's see, other comments. How do I give super chats here? I don't have super chats enabled. I keep meaning to, and then not getting around to it during the week. I probably should. Oval Dream. So my knowledge of Blender is quite limited, but I do know it's free, and there are a lot of tutorials on YouTube. So if that's what you're interested in learning, then I would go for it. I did not know that. Which is what you just said to me. Yes, so tonight I'm making this AT-AT move, and what I had done is I prepared the footsteps with the idea that I would want to try and get the AT-AT to move to the end of this line. But the problem I had is I placed them sensibly far apart, but it turns out when you actually make the move, it's too far apart, because that leg looks a little bit too stretched, and I can't really stretch it any further than that. So I'm having to move these steps a bit closer, but I'll do that as the AT-AT moves along. But I'm going to see how far I can get, even if I don't reach the end by this stream. I can always finish it off later or tomorrow, whenever. Am I planning to animate other Star Wars stories? I think I need to finish this one before I think about what I'm going to do next, because this is going to take a little while. Before I got started with the stream, I did actually animate the first step, just to try and get in the spirit of just getting the right mind into the flow of it, and also to make sure I didn't completely embarrass myself on stream as I tried to get it right. Flippy, yes. For the most part, I don't do any stunt stuff, and things like running, I don't have a lot of space in this house, so I'm kind of limited to that. So I'll use, for running and stunts, I'll use existing animations that I've acquired from elsewhere. Like in chapter 11, when Luke does the flip, that was not me, because if I tried that it would not end well. So the AT-AT Nomad City is a dreadnought which has been decommissioned, and it moves across the surface of the planet on the back of 40 AT-ATs. So I'm animating one, and the idea is I can then duplicate this 40 times. I'll show you the first step that I've animated so far. Halfway through, well, not even halfway through the second step, but let me try it again. It's for Lando's base. Nomad City. The mole miners. Yeah, ignore the slide. I haven't finished animating the next step yet. That's the one with the solar shield ships. Right. Right, so the idea is I've got these panels on the these squares on the floor to make it easier for me to mark where the footsteps are, because it doesn't actually create footsteps when it hits the ground. It'd be nice if it did, because it'd make it a lot easier for me, but there we go. Right, so we want the animation layer. And so the pattern of movement is, because it starts here, front left leg, back left leg, front right leg, back right leg, and then repeat. Nomad City is it's definitely an exotic location. I was slightly dreading this moment of actually having to animate it because of these walkers, but once I found this model had the rigged, so you can see these lines on it. This is the skeleton, and so each part of the walker is attached to one of these bones, and it makes it a lot easier to animate, which again makes it easier for me to do it. And yeah, I don't really know much about rigging, so I don't think I could. It's not really a challenge I'd like to take on myself. It's a little bit fiddly, so it will take me a couple of moments to get the step right. I think we need it down just a little bit more. Suppose it's better as 3D or 2D. See, both forms of animation have they're both just different styles, really. So it's not really, I wouldn't say one's better than the other. It really depends on the style you want to go for. I've tried 2D animation. It didn't come out the way I wanted, so then I moved on to 3D animation, which I found suited me better. But then I'm sure there's a lot of 2D animators who prefer 2D over 3D. Nuklon is how I'm going with it. Kind of, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to try and get the AT-AT to reach the end of these footprints, and that should be enough movement that I need, and then I can save that. And once I actually create the scene, all I got to do is just animate, have the loop running. The Dark Empire adaptation, I think it's great. I haven't watched the new chapter yet, which I need to. I was going to watch it yesterday, and then I spent so long responding to comments that I then went to bed because I was so tired. But I need to watch it because I could do that. I do actually have the shot figured out what I'm going to do. But that is a good idea. Right click. Yeah, I know that it's gone through the ground. I'm glad you're watching. Sherry, welcome. You know, when I first started doing these streams, I thought, I bet no one's going to really want to do it and want to watch. And I was thinking, even if I did, would I have things to say? But you guys are such a great crowd that you make it easier for me to figure out exactly what to say. And I now really enjoy these Monday night streams. So I know that crosses through the ground. I will come back to that one once I've done the other legs, because this is the one that's actually moving the most. So what I'm actually doing is moving the body first, which is why it was doing that slide. So it started there, and I just kind of took a guess at how far I thought it would move, which was about that much. And then I just did it again here. So you can see the counter on these frames on the timeline. So what I'm doing is we start at 0, and then for 100 frames along, or that's 1 second and 39 on the timer. So move it to there for the complete step, and I'll move the other legs, and then the actual leg that makes a step, I'll then go back halfway to here. So then you've got the foot's kind of lifted up, so as the sort of midway point. So as you can see, the back leg is going to be the one that lifts, but because I haven't done the lifted up yet, it's passing through the ground. So I'll do these other 2 legs on the other side, and then I'll come back to this one to have it sort of lifted up. So it will spin around to the other side, because it's a little bit easier. And it's convenient because you've got this kind of hinge thing here, and then you've got the actual, you've got the thighs and the shins as they're marked on the skeleton, which does make it easy for me. And of course the ankle for the foot. And as you can see, it's not quite on the ground, so we need to adjust that a little bit more. Well, Sherry, that's very kind, thank you. See, normally I'm not that talkative, sort of in person. I'm kind of happy to be the quiet one, which, so I guess I'm kind of introverted, I guess. But so that was one of the reasons I thought, am I going to want to do this or not? But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. What's the hardest thing you had to model? Well, let's see. It wasn't for this project. It's for my Chronicles of Humanity series, the alien invaders called the Infestation. They fly. They're ships, not really ships, but they're asteroids that have been infested, and they kind of got these wiggling tentacles. Those were not fun to create. For the Star Wars projects, though, I actually, because there are so many talented 3D artists out there who put their models up online, I'm going with those because I cannot compete with what they do. So rather than spend a lot of time making things, modelling, I don't know, there's no point me modelling an X-Wing when there's so many excellent X-Wing models out there, for example. So occasionally I will model things that no one else has tackled yet. I couldn't find I couldn't find any shield chip models, so I created my own, which you guys will see when I release this chapter. I'm quite pleased with how that model turned out. It wasn't it's quite a simple shape, so I can't say it was a difficult one to do. The guy speaking sounds familiar. Well, I should hope so, because I've been voicing some of the characters in the series. Grand Admiral Thrawn, welcome. I did think about doing the tilt and for the body, but the way I've got the shots planned, you're not really going to notice it, so I'm going to save myself a lot of work by not doing that. Whoops. So one of the things about this is you have to animate each keyframe. You have to animate all the parts, otherwise they don't stick together the way they should. So because I hadn't animated the leg here, it was trying to move from its position here, so it didn't quite work right. Yeah, exactly. So in theory they're supposed to have 40 AT-ATs under the city, but the way I'm planning it, you're not going to be able to see all the way under the city anyway, so you're probably more likely to get 20 AT-ATs, with the idea that the other 20 you don't see are on the other side of the city, which is obscured by the city itself. Which again also saves on render time, which is something I'm quite keen on. Especially after one of the scenes in chapter 8 took 36 hours to render. As you can see, the feet are going into the ground there, so that will require a little bit of adjustment. They're going to be in sync. I did think about making them alternate, but that's not, because they're all supporting the city. They need to move as one, otherwise it wouldn't work. Overall, thank you for coming. See you again next week, I hope. Otherwise, enjoy learning 3D modelling. I have played the game a lot, but I haven't done the research on it for this. What I did do is I looked at The Empire Strikes Back to see how they moved in that. And obviously the models they had available to them are a little bit more sophisticated than what I'm doing here. Overall Dream, I would really like to see you take on Star Wars. So do what you need to do to learn, and then see what you can come up with. Well, with a name like Grand Admiral Thrawn, that must be a a good game to play. I've been meaning to play Rebellion again, especially working on this, because I know that when they were designing that game, they did use the Thrawn trilogy as a lot of inspiration for how the game mechanics work. Right, so we're going to go back to the back left leg. This is meant to be the one that lifts up, so what was my favourite mod? It wasn't Thrawn's Revenge, but there was another one. Oh, Awaken the Rebellion. That's the one I really liked. And as you can see, I didn't position the leg properly here. Right. So let me do that again. So I was kind of hoping that with the Command & Conquer remaster did really well, and I'm hoping that EA will look at that and think, let's make another Star Wars strategy game. But of course, now that EA don't have the exclusive license anymore, maybe another company like Paradox will do a good Star Wars strategy game. I'd love to see them take it on. You're in the same country as me. Right, let's. I didn't do the keyframing for that leg, so. Nomad City being insane is kind of how I felt about animating Nomad City. But once I found this model, I realised it wouldn't be quite as frustrating as I was expecting. Right, I think the leg needs to come up a little bit more. Actually, you know what? It was better before that, even though it goes through the ground a little bit. Yeah, this is what I sound like. I do voice Pelion and Talon Card. Somebody else. I'm glad you had that vibe from that scene. I kind of did making it as well. It's so. I'm glad it came across. No, just having a quick drink of water. Hello, Ho. I saw he released it, and I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But I'm really excited to do it. I really liked his first chapter, his first episode. I like that it's a different style of animation, so it's not all just we're not all doing the same thing. We get a variety of styles. Well, Hoppy, this is making This is Star Wars homework, so maybe that's why. My favourite chapter so far has got to be the 9 with the huge space battle. Although, I have enjoyed pretty much every chapter that I've worked on. Oops, there we go. So the legs are kind of sinking into the ground, so I need to fix that. Greenman, thank you so much. That is very kind of you. I'm having a great time making these videos. It's bringing back a lot of memories for me as well of growing up, reading the books, getting excited, and the long waits between them. Let's see, lots of questions. Yeah, I always love Star Wars space combat as well. So chapter 9 was a lot of fun just because of that. And I decided to go all out with it. Because the battle is described quite loosely in the book, because you're only getting it from Dawn and Pelia's perspective on the bridge. But I thought we need to see it, not just have them on the bridge. You actually need to see the battle, because it is Star Wars, and Star Wars is of course known for its space battles. So now of course the front leg's in the ground. Somebody X, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed seeing Luke and R2 together. It was nice to have them just have a moment. Just a whole chapter of them having a little adventure on Dagobah. We don't talk about the sequels here because they're very divisive, and I don't want people who did enjoy them to be put off coming here, because I'm making this Heir to the Empire project for all Star Wars fans. That means if they did or did not like, so if they like the sequels, that's fine. If they don't like it, also fine. I'm just here for Heir to the Empire, so we don't discuss the sequels here. So those discussions get quite heated, and I don't think there's any need for that here. There are other places on the internet for it. Hand of Thrawn would be a good challenge, I think. Taskmaster, this is a model I found from sci-fi3d.com. They've got quite a few Star Wars models on there. Connor, welcome back. Darth Nightwing, good luck on your biology. Thank you for coming by. Hope to see you again. I already did a flashback of the outbound flight to show its destruction, but it was a very simplified version of it. Alright, let's zoom out a bit. Let's have a watch of this. I'm going to finish this book first and then decide what I'm going to do next. Because this one's going to take me a while. That leg's not moving right. Alright. Peter, thank you. I'm glad you find it interesting. Yes, so one of the reasons that I enjoy inclusivity in this sort of environment is I've had a lot of messages from people who have never read the book or hadn't heard of it, and they're discovering it through watching this. And some of those people, their introduction to Star Wars probably was the sequels or Clone Wars or whatever. And I don't want them to be put off exploring the expanded universe. So it's important to me that everyone feels welcome here. And it's actually quite a nice feeling when someone said that they've never read this Heir to the Empire, but they're going to go and check it out. Because of what they've seen me do. And I always tell them that it's probably faster for them to find out what happens to go and read the book than it is to wait for me to finish it, because that's also true. I have Empire at War. I've had a copy of the game since it launched, way back. And it's a lot of fun. I imagine that the Hand of Thrawn would be a very interesting story to see as a film. So I have to keep watching back, because when I make changes, so the way the keyframes blend with each other, it affects them. Matt, welcome. For those who don't know, Matt is the voice of Luke, Han, Admiral Akbar, Obi-Wan Kenobi, C-3PO, Wedge Antilles, and also he's going to be Lando in this chapter that we're working on now. So, welcome. And now it's doing its slide. Marcus, I'm glad that... Did you watch the AT-AT video? He released it back in September, or has he done another one? Because he releases so many videos, I haven't caught up with everything. I do hope one day he does cover this series again, because that was quite an honour when he covered the series. So I'm just going to move this square to about there. Thrawn, yeah, I agree that that's probably where they're going to go. It's going to be similar to the MCU, but instead of Thanos as the central villain, it's going to be Thrawn, and he's going to pop up in all 4 shows, just like Thanos appears in lots of the MCU movies. Although I suspect Thrawn will be more active in the story rather than just the brief appearances that Thanos had to start with. Good. That was an excellent video in September. Well, Floopy, I'm glad you saw it too. So, more leg movement. Yeah. I'm interested to see how they would act. I know it's never going to happen. It's a good thing it's never going to happen. But as far a little bit of fan speculation of Thrawn versus Thanos. Future parts of the Thrawn books. Let's see. Luke and Mara in the forest. I'm excited. To do that. The Battle of Sluis Van, that's going to be a lot of fun. There's so many good moments to look forward to. And that's just in this book. Let's see. Responding to questions. How long does it take to make one character? So iClone has this extra piece of software called Character Creator, and I'm pretty sure you can guess what it does from that name. It's got a plugin where you can generate faces from photographs. So I did that to create their faces, but you still need to do a little bit of tidying up to get it right. So I must have spent hours on each of the characters, and every so often I go back and update them because the software gets better. And sometimes the changes are very noticeable, like the jump from... So in chapter 2, when you see Han, Luke and Leia, they're the old versions of the character models. Then when you see them again, they look much more similar to the way they should, and that's because I'm using the face scans. That technology, that plugin did not exist when I did chapter 2. And then I've kind of updated them subtly as time went on. Let's see, hold on. Force Commander. Well, yeah. Somebody X, that's a question Matt would have to answer. I don't record him, he records and sends me the dialogue. Because we live in different parts of the world. As to what his process is, I think he'll have to answer that one. So I think what they're going to do with those 4 series are going to be linked with each other more than they're going to be linked with other aspects of Star Wars, which I'm okay with. let's see. It is expensive in total, which is why I kind of built up my collection of software and plugins over time. It's still a lot cheaper than using something like 3D Studio Max. And I don't have all the plugins, I only get the ones that I find necessary. So, oh, sorry, I think that was stuck in my eye. I don't need any new voice actors at the moment. I've created a script, which I sent to Matt and to the other voice actors, because there will be, let's see, I'm not translating exactly from the book, because some things in the book work great in the book, but you try and turn them into a visual thing, it doesn't work. So, for example, in chapter 9, no, not chapter 9, chapter 11, the one I just finished, when Luke's in the cave, he has his vision, and in the book, the vision's over, and then he carries on exploring the cave. And I did write the script that way, but when it came to actually putting the scene, animating it, I realised it's actually better as a video if the vision ends with Luke landing and finding the device right there, as if he was guided by the Force to it. Yeah, exactly. And the other example was chapter 1. In the book, it starts with Pelion on the bridge of the Chimera, and he's kind of despairing about the state of the Empire, which is all in his mind. And that works, that's fine in the book, but you can't really translate that into a video form easily, because the options are internal monologue, which might work, but never in any Star Wars media, and in the films, animated, the TV shows, or whatever. That's never been done, so it's not the style of Star Wars. He could talk to himself, which is not what the captain of a ship would do on the bridge in front of his men, because it would completely shatter their confidence in him as a leader. So he would never do that. Narrator is also not true to the style of Star Wars, because you don't have a narrator in any of the media. Well, I guess the Ewok films had a narrator, briefly, but it's not really the look, the style I'm going for. Yeah. I read through that bit in the book about Luke talking about being guided by Yoda, and as you said, it's very tricky, because there's only so much Luke's going to talk to R2 about, because obviously R2 is a droid, he doesn't fully grasp the Force, so Luke's not going to have a fully in-depth discussion about how the Force works with a droid who doesn't understand it. It was So I think rather than make a... Connor, well, thank you for stopping by. If they were actually going to make an adaptation of S the Empire, they should do it as a TV show rather than a film, which is why, like Thrawn said, I don't think it would be... Hello, Samantha. Welcome. You just kind of threw me off what I was about to say there. Oh yeah, so as Thrawn said above, the books wouldn't make good films because of that. So I'm predicting that this adaptation will be about 4 hours long for one book. That's twice as long as any... twice as long as any... well, there's a lot of the films are, especially the Star Wars. I know that some films are longer than 2 hours, but generally the Star Wars films are just over 2 hours long. So it would work better as a TV show. They give it kind of the Game of Thrones type treatment where, I wanted to say Game of Thrones, I mean Season 1 Game of Thrones, where it's a very close adaptation of the book. Well, as you can see, I'm very slow animating tonight because I'm so busy talking to you guys, I'm not doing that much. I've got 5 seconds of footage and it's not even finished yet. Let me see if I can get these other legs done. Where was I? So those two are done. It's the back right leg next. So spin it around to the side. I do know how I'm going to handle the talking Wookiee. Did that wrong. Now I'm thinking about talking Wookiees and getting the legs wrong. Right, because it's fun. Probably not the answer you're looking for. Right, now I can finally get the front leg. So normally when I'm not streaming, I do animate a little bit faster than this, but because I'm stopping to chat with you guys, it slows me down. But I do expect that when I'm streaming, so it's not a problem. Because I do really enjoy talking to you, all of you. I just have to make sure I don't get so caught up with animating this leg that I forget to talk. So I've got a collection of R2 sound effects, and they're all different kind of tones for different moods. So even though you don't necessarily I don't know if there are actual translations, but you kind of get the gist of what he's saying from the way he beeps. So a happy beep or a scared beep's going to sound very different from a happy beep. There we go. We've got 5 seconds of walker footage. Let's play it back and have a look. I'm going to catch up with some of these questions. Hold on. Lost Fires, welcome. Don't worry about it. Turn up when you can. If you can't make it, that's not a problem. When these streams are finished, they automatically get uploaded to my channel. So if you missed it, you can still watch it. So you'll find them in the whatever section it is that they go to, but it's all done automatically, so I think it takes about 5 or 10 minutes for the video to process and get uploaded, so it's nearly instant. Lando is going to be in chapter 12. "70 episodes. Oh. Wait a minute. The entire Thrawn trilogy would be about... So, Heir to the Empire is 32 chapters. I believe Dark Force Rising is 29. And The Last Command is 28, off the top of my head. So that's about 90 chapters. 90 episodes in total. Your average gamer, that's... I'm animating this walker for a fan film project. Star Wars fan film project. I'm not going to make it canter. Taskmaster, I have created my own series. It's called Chronicles of Humanity. I've released... It's all on Amazon Prime, but you can also find the first 3. So what I did originally was to release is episodes, much like Heir to the Empire. It's about 10 minutes long, but then I edited them all into movies. So each season 1 became a movie, season 2 became the sequel movie, and so on. So the first 3 are here on my channel. I've got the 4th one ready to go, which I'm kind of saving for a long gap between chapters. I mean, I could release it any time, but if there's going to be a long wait between chapters, I don't want to keep you guys without content, so I'll release it at some point then. The side angle, there you go. Let's play it back. I know that the feet do pass through the ground. That's something that I will come back and tidy up once I've got it moving as far as it needs to go. But I'm quite pleased. You know what I should do is save it. I think that would be a good idea, because I haven't for the entire hour I've been working on this. I think I'm going to stop animating for tonight because it is getting a bit late, and I don't want to mess it up because I'm tired. Well, it's not that they're sinking into the ground. It's look. If you look, you can see here. So what I need to do is lift it up a little bit here. Coco Animation Studios, of course you can. Ask away. I'll zoom in close, you can see. So that'll be fixed, but all I have to do is create a keyframe here with a leg just a little bit higher, and then it should fix that problem. So the foot needs to be higher sort of here and then come down rather than sliding across. But yeah, I'll do that when I'm not quite so tired. But otherwise, I'm really pleased with how it's turning out. Coco, I'm already planning to do that myself. In fact, I've even done it with the chapters so far. But I do really appreciate the offer. Hoppy, I have to make sure I get that foot just right, so you don't see it going through the ground. But yeah, I've already edited together the first 11 chapters and the opening crawl into a movie. It's about an hour and 20 minutes long. But yeah, I do appreciate the offer. That's very kind of you. And one of the reasons I want to do it myself is because if I need to generate extra footage where the joins don't quite work, it's a little easier for me to just do that myself. And also, trying to upload the uncompressed chapters would take forever. What colour lightsaber would I have? I have a green lightsaber. I also have a red lightsaber. Nick Clark, I'm just working on this. The way it looks now, apart from some of the tidying up where the feet passing the ground, this is how it's going to look. So I'm not going to try and make it look anything other than this. Lost Fires? No, I'm not, because when in the actual scenes that I've got planned out, you're not going to be able to see those movements that easily, and so adding them is a lot of work for something that you're not going to see. So in the chapter, there are 40 of these carrying a huge dreadnought on their backs. So what you're actually going to see is more like this. So those slight tilts you're not really going to see. So adding it is a huge amount of work for something that isn't going to be noticeable. If I was going to redo the Battle of Hoth, and so having lots of close-ups of the walkers, then yeah, I would. Like if this was going to be the actual sort of perspective that the perspective I'm working on is going to be the perspective in the shot, then yeah, I'm close up now because I need to be to animate it. You're probably going to get about a very brief close-up just so you can see what it is, and then it's going to pull back to the dreadnought because the focus is going to be on the dreadnought. If I need to do a little tilt for that close-up, then I can add it in. But I don't want to do the tilt for the whole sequence. Anyway. Excuse me. I am getting quite tired, so I think I'm going to stop the stream now. Thank you everyone for coming along, asking your questions and chatting and so on. It's always great to see you guys here. I should be back again next week, either showing more behind the scenes or we'll do director's commentary on the next 2 chapters. Samantha, I'm glad you came. It's a surprise, but a welcome one. So everyone have a good night, or good whatever time of day it is for you. Sleep well, and may the force be with you.